In this day where the prices of building materials keep increasing on a daily basis, many people have had to resort to buying their building materials in bulk just so that they can be able to, just so they can, save some money and then also avoid the increasing inflation and the increasing rise of building materials. However, as people have decided to purchase their materials in bulk, others have also decided to be bad actors in society where they are stealing the materials of people and even stealing wires and finishing things like sinks, etc., tiles, and so many other things. So we got this question on our WhatsApp community where someone says, I need advice. I want to start my electrical wiring, but I am scared people will go and pull them. The windows are secure, but still not comfortable doing this wiring. I need your opinion, family members. Thanks. Now, in this video, we are going to attempt to answer this question in three main ways. One, we are going to look at it from the perspective of the stage of the building project that you have reached. Are you now starting your building project, or have you completed your core and shell? Have you done your roofing? What is the level of risk that you are looking at, right? Because whether you are starting or you are finishing, they all present their own unique challenges. Then we are also going to look at it from the perspective of where is your building project located? Where do you live? And this was another question that someone put, which says, hello everyone, someone has suggested to me that to protect my building, especially now that I'm about to roof and do electrical, I should get the security fence done instead of hiring a caretaker. Please, what do the house think? Thank you. So these are two different questions. Someone says they're about to start their electrical wiring. They are scared that people will go and pull them. Then the other person says that, they have, completed the roofing and they want a solution now that they're about to do electrical, but they do not want a caretaker. So for me, the very first question that I'm going to ask myself, right, if I'm in this position, or I'm going to ask anybody who comes for consultation, is which stage is your building project at? Because this is super important. If your building project is now starting, right, then it means that you have a long way to go. And some of the things that you would consider are different from what someone else will consider if, for example, they have completed the core and shell and then they are about to do the finishing. So like you are seeing on your screen, this house is a house that has done roofing and has completed core and shell. This other one is now about to start. They are coming to do excavation. So you've seen the lines that they've done for the setting out and all that. They are now coming to excavate with a backhoe. So let's pick it one at a time, right? If you are in the category of someone who, has just started out, right? Then for me, what I would recommend is that you start with a storage shed. Now, the storage shed can be made out of wood and then have like a roofing on it, and then you can put a lock on it. It works for a lot of people. In fact, for many of our clients that we work for, is the easiest, cheapest, and fastest way for them to go. And the budget for that, depending on how big your storage shed is, could range between 15,000 to 20,000 or 25,000 at most. You are going to need a lot of wood, like boards and stuff like that. You're going to need nails. You're going to do some small foundation where the shed is going to be on to elevate it a bit. And then you're going to need some roofing sheets. It doesn't have to be anything premium, but the benefit of putting together a storage shed is that your workers or your caretaker or temporary security people that we are going to talk about later in this video can also sleep in it, depending on how big it is and how you partition it. So for me, that's one of the main things you can do. And 20,000 cedis today in dollars is less than $2,000. So somewhere like maybe $1,300 to $1,500, you'd be able to get yourself a good storage shed that you can put under lock and key. This is really important to me. Then, if getting that storage shed is too much work for you, an alternative would be for you to consider getting like a shipping container. So when you get a shipping container, it comes like it's pure metal. You just put your padlock on it or some locks on it, and you are done. And today you can get shipping containers. I did some search on Gigi just before the video, mainly between 20,000 to 40,000, right? Depending on the size of the shipping container. So usually the 20-footer shipping containers are selling between 20 to 25,000 cedis, and then the 40-footer is selling at about 30 to 40,000 cedis. So you can just do a search on Gigi, and this for me is a more secure way that you can store your materials because it's more difficult to break into. And so if you are just starting, those are some of the considerations that for me I would do. So like this land that you are seeing on your screen, I'll probably get a shipping container, maybe 20-footer or 40-footer, because you know that once they complete the excavation, right, they are going to do certain things, right? And they are going to need like cement, etc. if they are coming to do the foundation. They are going to need boards. They are going to need nails. So the first set of stuff, you can store it here. Sand, obviously, you can keep on the site. Chippings, you can keep on the site. But cement that someone can easily pick and walk away with, you probably want to keep that one in your storage shed. So once that is done, the next step for me is to get yourself a wall, right? Because I have seen that many people want to kind of like do the house first instead of doing the wall, because walls are pretty expensive nowadays. I get you, I understand you. However, if you have a wall, it saves you a lot of stress. Nowadays, the complaints I've been hearing from people who come for consultation and people that come to us is that because they didn't start the wall, especially those who buy lands which are bigger than one plot, right? Maybe 4 plots, etc., an acre and more. People begin to encroach into your land space if you don't have a wall. And then obviously doing a wall for anything bigger than 2 plots is very expensive. Today, it's going to take you like 60 to 70,000 cedis to come up with a standard wall, like on a 70 by 100 plot of land. And so you can imagine if you are doing 4 plots, it's very expensive. So some people rather prefer to do their foundation, etc. But remember, people may want to encroach into portions of your land if you don't do the wall. And then also putting up a wall creates a physical barrier where it's going to be very difficult for people to jump over, especially if your fence wall is pretty high. Then you put up a gate. It could be a temporary gate, which I don't really advise. If you are doing it, just do it once and for all, right? So it could be a temporary gate, or it could be a permanent gate where you make sure that where the leading to the gate, you've done all the finishing works around it. The columns holding the gate and everything are solid, right? If it's a sliding gate you want to maintain later when you move in, you do all those things now. Because even the cost of gates by the time you finish is going to be super expensive. So you do your wall, you do your gate, you have your storage shed. Then you are reducing, the chances that people can actually break in and come and steal your cement and other materials at that particular stage of your building project. Now, let me also make it clear that there's not going to be anything that you can do, right, which is going to be 100% like foolproof or fail-proof, where somebody will not be able to still find a way. Even if you do the storage shed, if it's wooden and it has padlocks, it doesn't matter how big it is. If someone is pretty determined, they will find a way around it. Even if it is a shipping container, if they are pretty determined, they are going to find a way. But all these steps that I'm giving you are going to reduce the chances that somebody would be able to actually break in. Now, the next thing that I would advise you, for example, if your building project is now starting, okay, the next thing I would advise you to do is that get some solar powered lights on your site. This is also very, 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 very important. Get some solar powered lights at your site. Now, I'm looking for a video to show you. So for example, this property, right, that you can see on your screen is just a wall with the foundation started. Later we put up the gate, okay, but you can see that this place is pretty isolated, and that leads me into my very next point. Where is your building project located? Where is your building project located? Because if, for example, you are pretty isolated, like the land and the property that we were seeing on the screen, then it is going to be more easy or easier for people who are super determined to actually have enough time to, do whatever nefarious activities they want to do, because you don't have any neighbors. Okay, so you need to consider those things. That's why for me, I'm asking these 3 important questions. At what stage is your building project? If you are just starting out, and for you, your second question, the answer is you live pretty isolated, then get some solar powered lights. Get some solar powered lights, because if people tend to do a lot of these bad things when there's darkness, like the site is not lit and all that, at night they know there's nobody there. So though you have your fence wall, you have your gate and all those things, if there's no light, they can just jump in. They are very determined. So as you are seeing, this whole property is surrounded by bushes. And so you don't have any neighbors who are going to be like looking out for you. You understand? So please ensure to get some solar powered lights, especially as you can see on screen. There's no electricity pole close to the site for you to see you are tapping electricity. So get some solar powered lights. For me, this cannot be overemphasized. Now I want you to comment where you are watching from, and then your own tips for ensuring security at site. How did you navigate this issue of security when you were starting and when you were finishing, right? That for me is super important. So please comment so that everybody can learn, especially those who are watching the live and those who would be watching the replay. And if you're enjoying this content also, it would make my day if you could just click like, share, and subscribe to this video so that it tells YouTube that this video is worth watching and you are getting value from it. So if you are just starting out, those for me are the key things that you need to consider. Now, if the site has access to electricity, then what I would recommend is that you get like an electric fence. Now, still on the community, people like raised a lot of concerns, right? So if you look at this question that was posed, the person says they want to do their security fence because they don't want a caretaker. And I'm going to leave the caretaker discussion to the very last part of this video because I have my personal experiences with caretakers, some good, some bad. So make sure to watch till the end of the video. Now, let me know if you did an electric fence, right, security fence, before you moved in, like way before you moved in, or you did it close to when you were coming to move in. Comment below and let me know. So the next point someone said was, people don't realize that electric fencing protects you when you have residents in the house. If someone cuts an electric fence, it will only make sounds. That sound can't prevent thieves. But if there are residents, then the sound alerts you. So this is a really interesting point that I feel we all need to take note of, right? That the electric fence is not 100%. Like I said, there's nothing in this list of tips that I'm sharing which is 100% foolproof. So again, that's why I asked 3 questions. At what stage is your building project? The second one is, where is your project located? Is it very isolated, or is it located within a thriving community like you are seeing on your screens? Because if it's located in a thriving community like this, then you probably have neighbors who can be your eyes and ears on the ground, right? But if you are building where it is super isolated, then you want to take all these steps that I'm talking about pretty seriously. get yourself the electric fence. The very fact that it is there and then it is making that, what's the English word? Is it a buzzing, clicking, electrifying noise? You know, it does this ta-ta-ta noise, right? So it will scare people unless they're very hardened, super determined criminal. So get yourself an electric fence. Then the next point is also still on the solar systems, right? Get yourself a solar camera to monitor movement in and out. And like I said, from my personal experience building for people, once you have the camera at site, even if it is not working, when people are passing by, they just see it and then they stop misbehaving, right? So it's just natural. When people see cameras, they all of a sudden become very more conscious of themselves. Even when you are outside of the area of security, like when I pick up my camera and maybe I'm doing an interview, okay, we could be talking normally. I could be chatting with a person like this, looking at them eyeball to eyeball, and we'll be talking. Once you turn on the camera, they become so conscious of themselves and they begin to stammer and make mistakes. And that's the same kind of effect I've seen with the solar cameras, that once people see it, when I'm monitoring people passing by and they are walking, maybe they're admiring the house and they look and they see the camera, they quickly move along. And generally, even if it's not working, that's what the impression is, that you are watching it 24/7. Meanwhile, you're not watching it 24/7. So get yourself a solar camera. Our units that we ordered, they've completely run out. But if you want to order a unit for the solar camera, we are expecting stock in about 3 weeks. So just send us an email, right? Send us an email, abh@abhcollabs.com. And we are going to be sure to, supply you some when we get stock. All right. So we have said, one, if the house is just starting, build a storage shed. If it's too much, we'll get a shipping container, wall your land, get a gate, install solar-powered lights. If the site has access to electricity, install a security fence, get a solar camera. Then the next point is get a caretaker. But this point will come even if the site is not new. So let's defer talking deeply about caretaker and move to the next point. The next point is if the house is almost completed, right? For example, you have finished the roofing, you've done all your core and shell, like this house that you are seeing on your screen. Then there are certain pretty common sense principles you can apply, right? So the first one is to buy yourself a security door. Again, this is not 100% foolproof, but getting yourself a security door, especially a quality security door, is going to reduce the chances. Now, we interviewed Door Master a few weeks ago. The video is live on this channel, right? So if you are new and you are wondering what this guy is all about, this is Africa Building Hub, creating a community of people who want to build, buy, rent in Ghana. But we believe whatever lessons we are sharing will be applicable anywhere in Africa. And Door Master shared one horror story of someone that got like a security door, and the people took time to be able to break the security door because it was one of the way cheaper ones. And there are grades, there are tiers and all that. So if you want free consultancy when it comes to security doors, or you want to purchase security doors at a discount, today is 15th September. Just 15 days more, Door Master is running a promotion. They started 1st August, but maybe you were new to the channel, you never heard of it. They are ending 30th September. You purchase one Turkish security door, they will give you one internal door for free. So just tell them you are coming from Africa Building Hub. Their contact details are on the screen, and they would be willing to supply you with quality security doors. All right, so get yourself a security door. The next thing that I would recommend for someone who has completed their core and shell and then is ready to do stuff like electrical wiring, because it looks like electrical wiring is the one that the thieves are after the most. They will just take the copper out of the wires. Like these people, especially from my experience, they walk around developing areas, like developing sites. And then they call them, there's a term that they call them. They'll be carrying some sack, right? And they'll tell you they'll be buying metals and waste items like maybe your bucket of paint and stuff like that. They'll be buying waste materials from sites. So when they come and you're outside, that's what they'll tell you. When they come and you are not at sight, then they try to see if they can get access to your doors. If you don't have windows, they climb through. Some even climb all the way to the roof just to go and steal your wires. And so also try and get yourself like burglar proof, right, for your windows. I know a lot of people who are building from the diaspora and stuff, they don't like burglar proof, but this is Africa. Africa, like I'm saying, theft is very common. If it wasn't common, people would not be bringing this question of the day that we are looking at answering, right? So since it's very common, please try and protect yourself. And so ensure that you have done the burglar proof for your building. Now let's look at the next point that was recommended. So it said just get a caretaker. The person should be trusted and paid right. Build a relationship with him, right? And then the person proceeded to say, if they know there's a person residing there, it would deter them away. Most of these thieves are petty thieves. They are mostly not armed. They just go about building sites looking for opportunity. So they are opportunistic thieves. And so the next point then is to go and get a caretaker. But quickly before we move to the caretaker, right, we also have a partner who does, they do burglar proofs, they do gates and stuff. So I felt since I was talking about all these things, then it would be good to talk about Alpha Merge. If you want windows, balustrades, burglar proofs, anything glass or metal, then contact them. They are our official partners for doors, burglar proof, etc. And then tell them you are coming from Africa Building Hub for a good discount. Their contact details are on the screen. So let's go back to the point. The point was just get a caretaker. Now, I want to spend a bit of time on this point because if you say just get a caretaker, right? Somebody who is watching from the diaspora, remember the third question is where do you live? The where do you live for me is really, really important because the realities of someone who is living in Ghana is a bit different from the reality of someone who is living outside of Ghana. And so if you say just get a caretaker, I don't even know where I'm going to start from. Where am I getting the caretaker from if I'm living in the UK, US, etc., and I'm coming to Ghana? Do you get me? Even if I'm in Ghana and I'm starting a building project, where do I get a caretaker from? So let me share my personal experience. When I bought the house that I later completed, right, there was a caretaker who was living in it that came from the previous owner who purchased it. And when I purchased it, initially I wanted to move him out because I didn't know him. I didn't have any relationship with him. But then I prayed about it, and then I felt, okay, it's good to just proceed. So the first way you can get a caretaker is through recommendation. So, for example, now that I've completed my house and I've moved in, right, the caretaker has moved out. So he is looking for a place to stay. So in that instance, I can recommend him. So you need to ask around, especially if you know people within the developing areas where you are building. If sometimes people are completing their houses, you have neighbors, then you can find out if they had a caretaker, if the person was trusted, and then if they would recommend the person. I'm also seeing if I can put together a service for the community where we can build a portfolio of like trusted caretakers, people that have guarantors, people that have like, we've profiled, they've done their police reports and all those things, like the way it's done for Uber drivers in Ghana. So for Uber drivers, there's this service where you can go for like a work and pay. And then work and pay means that you don't own a car, a vehicle, right? But somebody who owns it, you can go to them and tell them, I want to drive your car with the intention of purchasing it. You don't know me, but I have a guarantor. And these are my papers, this is my ID, this is my police report, this is my driver's license, etc. And then there are certain systems and protocols that they've put in place to ensure that they reduce their risk exposure. So maybe we'll think about doing something like that for the community. If that sounds interesting, maybe you can comment below and let me know. so that we have a pool of trusted caretakers that you guys can use. At this point, I'm going to pause and read some of your comments because we've done like 25 minutes without reading the live comments. Hero the Legend says, "You're welcome, bro." Perfect Mal says, "How does one join your WhatsApp group?" Okay, so since you're asking, right, let me give you the secret to enter the cult. If you are joining our WhatsApp group, I'm just joking, right? This is the secret to enter the group. Scan the QR code. And the reason why we don't share it on Instagram and TikTok is we want people who actually love what we are doing, who support us by watching our live videos and using our services, etc., to be the ones. So we've dedicated this community to the people who watch the YouTube live. Today, I posted something, a snippet of it on Instagram, and everybody was commenting, "Please share the link." And I said, no, if you are a true follower, you would know how to join. So since you are watching, scan the link, scan the QR code. Okay. Alex says, okay. Salome says, "Good evening, Salome. Good to see you." Good to see all the familiar faces. Sir Max Daniel says, "Solar lights and solar CCTV would be a lifesaver." Fantastic. Hal says, "Hi, I have learned a lot from you as a female on this journey. I took your advice, did a wall, street lights, and a big wooden storage facility first, and a caretaker who resides in wooden structure." Applause, applause, applause. I like it when we give free advice like this and people actually take action and it works for them. The project is going steadily. Oh, fantastic. You need to come and pay consultation. The constant price increases in building materials is a nightmare. I understand. So for us, we have some partners. That's why we keep, talking about them. Colson Plus like this. If you are interested in purchasing iron rods and cement, reach out to them. Tell them you are coming from Africa Building Hub, and they will probably give you a good deal. Okay. Then Pretty Little Love says, "My friend gave his place to a caretaker. Caretaker ended up renting the place to another person." I know. So that's why I said I'm going to share my own experiences when it comes to having a caretaker, because it's not so straightforward like saying just get a caretaker. How do you know that the person is trusted? So that's why I'm talking about the recommendation system. And then we will probably look at putting together a service where people will come and register, we'll profile them, do their police reports, make sure we have their ID, they have a guarantor and all those things. And then we can do this caretakers as a service. It sounds interesting. Okay. All right. So let's look at the next point that somebody said. So somebody also says, "I am not comfortable with a caretaker per what some of these caretakers tend to show to their owners." So if you had any experience with caretakers, please comment below and let me know whether it was positive or negative. And if you can recommend a trustworthy caretaker, send us an email as well. Our email is right here, abh@abhcollabs.com, so that we begin to create that database of trusted and reliable caretakers for our community. Really, really important. So let's move to the next point that I brought. Now, depending on how isolated your building project is, if you have neighbors, right, what I'm going to recommend is grow or build a very strong relationship with them. And they are going to be your eyes and ears on the ground. If you have neighbors, don't just be coming to site and be going and coming, driving your big 4x4 and stuff like that. They'll be watching you, don't mind you. If somebody is even going to break anything, don't even mind you. But go down to their level. I'm not saying you are very high and they are low. For example, where I was building at, right, most of the people in the area had not come yet. Like the people who are building big houses had not come. There are people opposite and stuff like that. So there were just caretakers in those houses. And then there were smaller houses along the street. But then when I'm coming, I'll pause, go to the Rasta man, go and chat with him, find out how he and his family members are doing. The guy opposite my house, who was a caretaker for the big house that somebody is building, I took his number. How are you doing? Once in a while, you tip him something, and then those people are, so though I had a caretaker, I still was building really solid relationships with the people along the street. Sometimes you are driving, there's nobody, but somebody is coming to their house. Oh, you stop, you wave, hello. Oh, I'm the one building my house down here, right? In this house, yeah. So that kind of thing. So when you are not available and something is going on, they will call you. Getting the numbers of your neighbors is really important, and I cannot overemphasize it. Don't just be living in isolation because you don't want people problems and whatever. You are living in a community, you are living in a society. You need to learn how to be a neighbor and friendly person. So for me, that's really key. If your building project is a bit isolated, but not fully isolated, right? And it ensures that when your own caretakers are misbehaving, the other people can tell you. So there was a time that the Rasta man living on my street told me something about my caretaker and all that. And it's really, really good. Like sometimes, let me just give you examples. For me, I had a generally good experience when it came to my caretaker, right? And he's human, right? So I remember sometime I called him and I needed a trip of sand. So he went to the station where the trip of sand is sold at. And then he called me to say, oh, the trip, like the track double axle is, let's say, 2,000 cedis. And I said, okay, that's fine. So I'll send him the money, and then he would, he would make the payment. So he thought he had dropped off the call, but he hadn't. And then he was now negotiating with the truck driver to give him the thing at a cheaper price, right? It's fine. But, those things, they are humans. They do all those things. So it's good, like it let me know that, oh, okay, so maybe this guy, this is the way he thinks and this is the way he behaves and all those things. So sometimes he had a boboya, like a tricycle. And many times he would convey cement and those kind of materials that are easy to convey on the tricycle. I don't know those outside Ghana if they know tricycle. Let me see if I have a video. I'm not talking about a tricycle that children ride. Let me see if I can find a sample tricycle, just so that the people who are like pure diaspora and who are not in Ghana can understand what I'm talking about. Yes, so this is him, right, with his tricycle. Do you understand? So what he was doing was typically he would use this tricycle to go, and then he would use the tricycle to go and deliver water or distribute water, like sachet water. I don't know if you have that outside Ghana, but we have sachet water in bags. So he goes to the station and then he picks it in bulk and then he does distribution. So when he's done and then I need materials, then he'll use his tricycle to pick the material. So when I buy wood, I buy plumbing materials, etc., then he conveys it for me. So I pay him the cost of work, right? Like I pay him the cost of transportation and a bit extra. So sometimes when he leaves his daily work that he's doing of distributing the water and does work for me, I pay him like a full day's wage and more. So I was doing all those things just to build that trust and then also to support him in a way, because he really helps. Like when the artisans come on site and sometimes they are delaying, they didn't come early, he'll call me that they didn't come early. When they come and then they are misbehaving, he'll call me and say this and that. When sometimes the hoodlums, the land guards and those people come around, not land guards, like people, the junkies, right, who will say, hey, you are coming to do excavation, come and pay us money. He'll call me and say, oh, boss, don't worry, I'll sort them out. Those kind of things. So he had his advantages, his pros, and then he had his cons, right? So getting a trusted caretaker is really, really important. But overall, for him, his pros outweigh his cons, because when they do the work and there's dust, you come and clean the house and stuff like that, especially when it was getting to the finishing stages. So people will come and maybe do the chiseling of the walls, so many things like painting, those sandpaper, tiling, there will be a lot of dust. Any kind of work where there's dust, you come and you see him mopping and doing all those things. So it really, really helped. Now, somebody may be asking, how much would you pay a caretaker? It depends on the arrangement you get with a caretaker, right? So for me, like I said, I pay him for anything that he does, whether it's conveying materials, etc. I pay him for it. And then I add some extra. And then once in a while, when I come to site, I tip him some money, right? And then one thing that he was also doing before I drilled my borehole was that he would go and then get the guys who sell the water, and then they'll bring it to site and all those things. So he was doing quite a lot. But on average, many people tend to pay their caretakers 400 to 500 Ghana cedis a day. Hey, did I say a day? 400 to 500 cedis a month. If you're asking in dollars, that's coins, right? That's like $30 a month. Really low. But of course, they are also having accommodation and all that. So that is on the good side of the good caretakers. Now there's the bad side of caretakers. That is why a lot of people don't want to get caretakers. Do you know that if somebody is a caretaker on your land for a certain period in Ghana, they have the legal right to go and contest that land in court and take ownership of it? Yes. And there have been lots of cases where caretakers have actually taken the land to court, that they are the legitimate owners now. And the law has ruled for them. So many a times people are very concerned about those things. So that's just the legal part. Then there's also the attitudinal part, right? Where people are people, right? And sometimes people begin to get like ego and stuff like that. They live in the house for so long, especially those of you who are building in the diaspora, building big houses, and it's taking you many years to complete. You are building a house and it's taking you 10 years, and your caretaker has been living there for 10 years. You need to pray if you believe in prayers, because they essentially are the owners of the house, right? And sometimes they have kids in the house. Like, the caretaker will come to the house as a single person. You are taking 15 years to build your house. They have married or they've gotten a girlfriend who has also moved in. They've given birth to 4 kids who are living in the house. They are praying that you die and you don't come back. I'm just telling you the honest reality. That's those who pray. There are some who would actually go the extra step, if you believe in spiritual stuff, juju and stuff like that, to try and confuse you so that you totally forget about the house, right? If they don't even kill you spiritually or whatever, they try to confuse you so that you forget about the house. You may not believe in superstition, but this is Ghana and this is Africa. And if you want to move and build in Africa, you need to be aware of these things. Comment below your own experiences. I'm going to read all the comments and come and share some more experiences when it comes to caretakers. So, on the YouTube comment side, okay, so Ruth Boateng says, kudos Africa Building Hub for addressing these security-related issues. Henry Abochi says, doing the fence wall first is great if you'd not be needing a borehole. If you'd be needing a borehole, that should be first because the survey might point out a location that is already walled. Wisdom. Thank you for contributing. IND2ND, or is it? I don't know what it is. Getting a caretaker is like rolling dice. It's a gamble. David Johnson says, are people still paying property tax on their houses in Ghana? People are supposed to be paying property taxes, but I don't know anybody who is. My uncle was a caretaker for my dad. Dude attempted to steal the house. Crazy. Ima Bold says, watching you from London, a.k.a. Station Master. How says, quarters rights are real in Ghana, so please don't let them live there for 10 plus years, nor make significant structural works. Really, really important. Now, I don't know how many likes this video has, but if you're enjoying this video, please make sure to click on the like on this video. Can we get at least 500 likes? And if you haven't subscribed, why are you not subscribing? Don't you want to support us? Don't you love us? Don't you appreciate the hard work we are doing? Oh, please subscribe, please. There are over 75 people who are watching, and there are just 19 likes. Oh, goodness, please, can we get to 50 likes in the next 5 minutes? So if you're just joining, the question of the day was posted on our WhatsApp community. It says, I need advice. I want to start my electrical wiring, but I'm scared people will go and pull them. The windows are secure, but still not comfortable doing this wiring. I need your opinion, family members. Thanks, Bebre. And we are looking at this from 3 perspectives. The stage of the building project, we've covered that end to end. Where is your building project located? We've covered that also partially. And then the final one is, where do you live? And so let's move back to, where is the building project located? Now, if your house is completely isolated, and I mean completely isolated, then perhaps you need to go the extra mile of hiring a security guard. Really important, especially if you are investing a lot of money into your house. You are buying some nice decorations, finishing and things. Get security. There are security companies like Westech, etc. And many developing areas now have branches of some of the top security companies in Ghana. Get those kind of security people. Those people, you are paying them so they are not going to work. The challenge with some caretakers is that they also go to work. So in the mornings, they wake up early and they leave. Then they come and sleep there at night. So when they leave, who watches the house? So get a security person who is dedicated for that function. And for them, their pay wage is a bit higher. It's between 700 to 1,500 Ghana cedis a month. If you are looking at it in dollar terms, that's between $500 to somewhere like $100. Hey, did I say $500? Hey, Charlie, the Ghana currency is rubbish now. That's like $50 to $100. Oh, Charlie. $50 a month. I feel sad to be a Ghanaian right now. Yeah, so you can get a security detail to come and guard your house. Then also you can move it to the next step. If you want heavy security presence, you can get police to come and guard you. And those are also available for hire. So depending on how isolated it is and the value of the property and the premium that you place on the materials that people could come and steal, you probably want to get extra security. Okay. So let's move to the last part of the comments, which is, where do you live? Now, the reason why I'm asking where do you live is you could be living in Ghana, close to your building site, like maybe in the same region. So maybe you are in Accra, and then you are building at Amasama and Kaswa, Ibri, Ayimensa, Dodowa, Community 25, those places, right? Kumasi, etc. Like you are living in the country. It's not too difficult to get to site. Going to site is between 1 hour or less, or at most 2 hours. Then you could consider keeping your materials in your house if there's storage space. At least I did that myself when I was putting up my own building project. So there were lots of things that I purchased that, though I had a caretaker in the house, I felt the value of those items were too big for me to come and keep it here, especially when the caretaker goes to work. Let me give you an example. So my solar, the solar system, I didn't want to say solar system because somebody will be thinking of the universe, but the solar setup, right, or installation, the battery is super expensive. The lithium-ion battery is super expensive. The panels are expensive. The inverter is expensive. The wiring for it is expensive. So for those items, buy them, because sometimes you're not ready to do it. Maybe roofing is not done yet, right? But you want to buy it because in Ghana, the difference in a week or a month can be a 15 to 30% increase in the price of a material. So you want to buy it and keep it in your house where you lived. So I bought some of those materials and kept it in the hall where I was living previously. When it comes to the finishing, right? So the lights, the sinks and things like that, right? The washing machines, the induction cookers, those gadgets, those appliances, you probably also want to keep it till it reaches the time when it needs to be installed exactly. Electrical wiring, etc. Like things that are pretty expensive, but they are not so bulky. You can keep them in your house if you live in a country. So your question is, what if I don't live in a country? What do I do? Really, really good question. If you don't live in a country, then what I would advise is that two things. One, get into an agreement with a vendor who is willing to keep the things till you need them. Let me explain. So places like Palace Home Decor, places like Orca Decor, Kitia, etc. Even this steady desk I purchased at Kitia, Ghana. And I didn't need it immediately. So this will still apply to somebody who is in the country. I purchased it and I let them keep it for me for a while at no extra fees. So I was ready to pick it up. And a lot of these companies, big companies, allow such things like Palace, West Africa Tiles and Decor. So you probably need your tiles. Is all they need is for you to be able to produce like your receipts, right? When you are going to their warehouse to pick up the materials. So I think I have some video of picking up materials at the warehouse. Okay, so right here. So when you go to the warehouse to pick up your tiles or whatever it is, you just show them your receipt, and then once they haven't written on it that this item has been picked up, you can always go and then pick it up. So this for me is very, very important. Some allow you to keep it there 2 weeks, some a month, some 2 months, some 3 months. Once you've made a payment and there's space in their warehouse, you'd be able to keep it. So whether you're in a country or not, you should probably consider this option. Then the next option for people who like to import their materials, right? Especially from China. What you would want to do is that, one, know that typically it takes about 3 months if you are shipping via sea, right? So if you need the materials in December, today is 15th September. So what you are going to do is you are going to order now, and then it takes about 3 months. So September, October, November, December, by then it will be here. Or you can make some buffer, right? So maybe you need it in January, you order now, and it ensures that it arrives just when you need it. And then you go and fit it. So this usually works for things that you use for your finishing, the finishing of your house: lights, air conditioners, fans, basins, water closets, kitchen things, all those other things, right? So I want you to share your own experiences in the comments below, and then let us know what you have experienced, what you did when it comes to security at your building site. And with that, I want to say thank you very much to everybody who watched this video. The secret phrase of the day, so that we know whether you watched till the end or not, is that caretakers are interesting. Just comment, caretakers are interesting, especially those who watch the replay, and then I would know you watched till the end of the video. And if you watch to the end of the video, I appreciate you, I love you, and we'll see you on the WhatsApp group. You want consultation, you can send us an email, or you can reach out to us via email or any of the links provided, and we'll be happy to support your building project. You want to purchase solar cameras, send us an email. If we've missed your email, please resend it. Sometimes we can be overwhelmed. Like we get maybe 100 messages on Instagram a day, 100 on TikTok, 100 emails. We are trying to grow our team. So just resend if we've missed and we haven't responded to any of your mails. But we try to be very, very responsive. I pray your week is blessed. I pray that everything you start to do will be blessed. And I pray that God willing next week we'll meet to talk about solar. And before then, another video is going to drop. So we'll meet to talk about solar. We also have an interview on leakage for roofing that is going to come up. So there's a lot of content coming up. And so make sure to subscribe and turn on all notifications.